Talking the latest Lions news and rumors for you folks today. And in this video, we're going over 3 subjects here. Article came out, should the Detroit Lions trade for wide receiver Stefon Diggs over there from the Buffalo Bills being urged? I'm going to give you my thoughts on this one so we can kind of put this one to bed fairly quickly. PFF dislikes the Lions wide receivers and weapons on offense. They rank them pretty bad. I'm going to give you the rank that they said, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. Antwaan Randale praises Marvin Jones Jr. Can't wait to get into that one because we all love this guy. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Before we jump into the video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 36,100 subscribers. We're about 60 away, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and start with the Stefon Diggs. Should the Detroit Lions trade for Stefon Diggs? Lions being urged on a couple of outlets and a couple of commentators. So, yeah, he's the wide receiver from the Buffalo Bills. Very good wide receiver over there. He was getting it done since he was traded from the Minnesota Vikings to Buffalo. When you look at him, he was an all-pro wide receiver last year, almost 1,500 yards receiving with 11 touchdowns. Man, he was balling out. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He's an elite route runner, great route running, always getting open, and that's why he's been in the league as long as he has. He has the ability to catch anything that comes his way, specifically at touchdowns, because he is a touchdown machine. He gets the football, he gets to the end zone, but there's a thing about him. He also is a massive diva, and he's always whining and crying. And to me, that definitely doesn't fit the Dan Campbell way. But it's not just about, what he can do. It's also about the cap and the cost to acquire talent. His cap would be $24 million this year with a $22 million signing bonus. That is a lot of money. And the draft capital to get someone like him, you're probably looking at a first-round pick even at his age of 29 because of what he can do on the field. So I'm going to ask you really quick, would you trade for Stefon Diggs? Y for yes and N for no. Let me know in the comments below. Lions are not trading for Stefon Diggs. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there right there and kind of just kick this article in the booty really quick so you guys don't get the idea that this is going to happen, because generally when somebody's on the trade market, we always talk about it with the Lions. That's why I want to hear it costs too much, but more importantly, he's not a culture fit at all. He is not a Dan Campbell type of guy. I cannot see a player like him fitting with the Lions offense. Yes, he's masterful on the field, and he would make the offense better, but he's also a disruptor in the locker room, and something the Lions don't want to have. That cohesive unit must stay intact, and that's why we're trying to change the culture. We have changed the culture due to that. So if you think we're getting Stefon Diggs, I give it a 0.00001% chance. Costs too much. It's going to cost a lot of capital. And guess what? He just doesn't fit for sure. But, hey, name a player if you want to get a wide receiver added to this room. Name a player in the comments below. Any player. You could just name some sort of player. I don't want to know your thoughts about a wide receiver. PFF dislikes the Lions wide receivers and the Lions weapons on offense. They are not high on it. PFF, not a big fan of what we got offensively surrounding Jared Goff. And it's crazy because they rank the Lions' weapons on offense at 23. That is a bottom 10 per PFF. Kind of interesting considering the fact that the Lions' offense is really, really good. And I think the problem here is PFF and other outlets are looking at names instead of production sometimes here. Now, they do absolutely love Amon-Ra St. as everyone should be. They say Amon-Ra St. Brown took a step to the elite category, earning a 90.4 receiving grade last season. Detroit moved on from T.J. Hockenson via trade in the middle of last year, but they have Marvin Jones Jr., Josh Reynolds, and added rookie Sam Laporta, who is sure to be a decent part in their passing games. The problem is, I think they're underrating some of these players. Jameson Williams, I do think will get better, but that's not someone I'm going to be focusing on. Khalif Raymond's who I'm focusing on. I've been focused on it. He's extremely underrated just because of his size. He's getting dinged here. Josh Reynolds is a good wide receiver as well. He fits with Jared Goff. These two guys, yes, they're not the biggest names in the world. They absolutely are not. They are not the DeAndre Hopkins. They are not a player like Stefon Diggs, but they're a complement player. Complement to the pieces that you have. And when you look at the wide receivers, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's the stud. Jameson Williams, he'll come in there. And then you have complements for Jared Goff. He doesn't need it. And you got a ton of tight ends whom never get credit like Brock Wright. He just doesn't get the credit, even though he catches nearly everything that comes his way. Sam Laporta has already done good in training camp, and they should also understand that the Lions' passing attack is not just focused on tight ends and wide receivers. One of the big parts of the Lions' game here, folks, is the running backs. And Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be utilized in the passing game tenfold. This guy is going to be a player who probably gets more attempts passing than running, in all honesty. That's just the way it is. So they're not looking, in my opinion, all the way correctly at the Lions offense. They're just looking at names and not really looking at what they have there. I do not think they're at bottom 10. I think they're much better than that. I think we're looking at between top 10 and 13, something around there. That's what I think the Lions wide receivers are. Folks, again, subscribe to the channel. We're a little over 60, way to get to 36,100. With your help, it can happen. Lions coach Antwaan Randale showing a lot of love to Lions wide receiver who we picked up in free agency, former Lion, Marvin Jones Jr. He said he's a guy who makes the big boy catches, so to speak. He can do the dirty stuff in the trenches. You know, red zone guy for sure, and Antwaan Randale explained. So that's why I see him a lot. Just making those dirty, grimy catches that will help us out. We got both of the couple of guys that can do it. But he is one of those guys that for sure can show up and make those plays. It's exactly what Marvin Jones Jr. is. Marvin Jones Jr. is a guy that just gets it done. He's not one of the name guys. And if you look what we had last year in DJ Chark. DJ Chark sucked initially with the Lions. Second half of the season, though, he was doing well. And everybody looks at his production and say, oh, he didn't get that many yards, just about 600 yards in passing. I get it. But he was making critical catches at critical points. May not have had all these 100-yard games. But when you get to first down from third down, maybe a 5-yard pass, that's huge. I say it before. He's the one that caught the pass to beat the Green Bay Packers. That's what Marvin Jones Jr. is. They nearly had the same identical receiving yards last year between Chark and Jones Jr. Okay? He gets those critical plays. It's not necessarily big, giant games, but critical plays keeps the drive going. Getting a touchdown wins the game. It's those big boy catches like Antwaan Randale is talking about. The importance of that is immense, of having a player of that caliber that can do that. And it's something that you can't generally just grade out and just say, oh, well, he just had 500 yards receiving, so he's not really that good. No, you have to look at the whole picture. Where did those yards come from? How many touchdowns did he get? Did he do a game-winning touchdown? He did. He did. Those are the things that matter the most, not necessarily stats. I know a lot of us get so hooked on stats that that's the only thing that matters. Look, stats are good, 100%. And I'm not going to say they're not good, but they're not everything. And for the Lions, having players that can make those big plays and win those games in the most critical parts of a football game is invaluable. It's not stats. It's the ice-cold veins at the critical time of a football game. Last year, Jacksonville Jaguars, Marvin Jones Jr. catches a football that wins the game and has started their trajectory to the playoffs. That's what we like in him. And matter of fact, just like PFF is ranking our bottom 10, a lot of our guys can do that. Khalif Raymond got great hands. St. Brown, great hands. Marvin Jones Jr., great hands. Josh Reynolds gets it done when he needs to. The tight ends, Brock Wright, Sam, all these guys are those guys. So, the Lions got good weapons on offense. And we're going to keep hearing trade rumors from every wide receiver or sign rumors from every wide receiver because the media dislikes our core of players. But guess what? Who cares what they say? We know what we have. We have watched it. We know we have dogs that gets it done. We know we have players on offense that gets it done. So who cares what they say for us to trade for? Who cares what they rank our wide receivers? Well, it doesn't matter. It only matters what our team thinks, our coaches think, and all of that. But we're dropping videos every single day here on my channel. Get ready for that. The season is coming real close, and which is freaking awesome because excited for that. Make sure you hit that notification bell, all the lovely stuff. Let's go.